they're going to look at any kind of credit card debt, car loans, student loans, and then, what you're making income wise and your credit. And those are the three big things that they're going to be looking for pre-approval. With respect to a mortgage commitment, at that point, now you're going to have
Adam, can you tell us the difference between a pre-approval versus a mortgage commitment?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that a lot of people think are the same thing, but they're not. A pre-approval is what anyone who's looking to buy a home is going to need to get at the very beginning of this process. It's basically an understanding from the bank approximately what you will be able to get as a loan from the bank. So this process is free. It takes usually no more than about 15 to 20 minutes. You can do it. Most loan officers will have a website. You can do it through their website. It's going to spit out, essentially, after you provide some information, a general number that says, okay, based on what you've given us, assuming all this information is correct, this is the number that we feel you will qualify for to get a loan. So that's what a pre-approval is. A mortgage commitment is a completely different animal. A mortgage commitment is once you've made an offer on a property that's been accepted, the mortgage commitment is the commitment that the bank is going to then give you when they have reviewed all of your financial documents and feel ready to say, yes, we feel comfortable based on your financial information as well as the home's valuation, we feel comfortable giving you the loan that you have applied for. So typically the mortgage commitment is given usually anywhere from 3 weeks to maybe a week before the closing. It usually takes several weeks after the purchase and sale is signed in Massachusetts to get a mortgage commitment. And there's a couple of different pieces that you need to go through to get that mortgage commitment. So the two are very different things.
Yeah, so the pre-approval is like really simple. You can go online to get that done.
Yep.
Okay, so it's really quick. And then the mortgage commitment is more of, it's like a, not physical letter, but like a letter in a sense of like, where it's like, hey, like we're good to go. We do in fact have someone to lend us the money, like for sure, 100%.
Yeah, now you do get a pre-approval letter as well. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Ryan, because in Massachusetts, anytime you submit an offer, you also do need to provide a pre-approval letter, basically showing proof to the seller that yes, the bank has pre-approved me and to get this loan. Even though they haven't gone through all of the steps yet, based on what I've given them, I will qualify for this loan. So you do need to provide a letter with any offer, but the mortgage commitment is the much bigger of the two pieces to the.
Got it. Adam, what's a good analogy for pre-approval versus a mortgage commitment?
Oh, wow. I guess it's like getting, like when you apply to a college, maybe like getting waitlisted versus getting accepted. When you're waitlisted, they like you and you probably will get accepted, but until you actually get that acceptance letter, you're not fully in. So I guess off the top of my head, that's probably an analogy that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because the pre-approval is like, we want so far so good, but until you get the commitment, it's like, all right, yes, 100%, you're coming here.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So what documents do you need for the pre-approval process, or what information do you need for the pre-approval process?
So with the pre-approval process, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to need to provide your social security number. The loan officer is going to need to look at your credit. They're going to need to look at what kind of income you make, your debt to income ratio, and any other kind of debt that you might currently have. So it's not a hard process. Most of it can be done in a 15-20 minute period, all online nowadays. So that's essentially what, they're going to look at any kind of credit card debt, car loans, student loans, and then, what you're making income wise and your credit. And those are the three big things that they're going to be looking for pre-approval. With respect to a mortgage commitment, at that point, now you're going to have an actual offer that's been accepted on a house. So you're going to need to provide that offer with the purchase and sale agreement that you've signed. You're going to need to provide tax documents. Normally, you're going to have to provide at least 2 years worth of tax documents, as well as proof of, because of recent changes in the law. Now, most loan officers and banks are going to actually look at the day of the closing to make sure that you're still employed in the same job and making the same amount that you said you were when you started this process. So whereas the pre-approval process will take maybe 15, 20 minutes to get a number, the mortgage commitment process is usually a few weeks. It's a much longer, in-depth process. You have to be very organized. You need to be able to provide these documents. So you're going to need to have them on hand that you'll be able to send to your bank or your loan officer to review. So you do need to be aware of that, and you do need to be organized with your financial documents.
We were talking a little earlier how this current real estate market is very competitive as of 2021 in the summer. So you said some people are getting the mortgage commitment letter before they actually, or with submitting their offer? Like, how would you do that if you, go for it.
Good question. So yes, because the market is so crazy, insane, and competitive right now, some lending institutions have offered a program where you can essentially get a commitment from the bank or from the lending institution prior to actually having a house to make an offer on. The reason this is a benefit is if you are a buyer, when you identify a property you want to make an offer on, you can go to the seller and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, look at my offer. In addition to the great offer that I have, I already have a commitment here from the bank. All it needs is pending a house to make an offer on, a physical address, and then you'll still need to have the bank do its own independent appraisal of the property to make sure that the property is valued by the bank at where it needs to be to qualify for the loan. Again, typically this is done after an offer has been accepted, but in order to make your offer stand out, a lot of lending institutions are now doing that process prior to a buyer going to make an offer. So again, that's going to take a couple of weeks. It usually takes 2 or 3 weeks to get a mortgage commitment. And it's a mortgage commitment pending a final appraisal of the home's value and an actual physical address. And in the seller's eyes, that's attractive because it means, all right, this buyer's already not only been approved, but they've already gotten a commitment from the bank saying, yeah, we're ready to move forward. We feel comfortable with this buyer. All we need the appraisal from the bank. That in this heated environment is getting more offers accepted. Not all lending institutions have this. And so you do need to make sure when you're talking to your loan officer, you want to ask them if they have a program that will do something like this.
Oh, interesting. And I'm sure somebody who's able to.
Yes, absolutely. I do. I know a couple of different companies, great loan officers that I've worked with for a while that do offer this great opportunity.
Sweet. Drop those links and descriptions down below, connecting them and stuff. Yeah, it's such a, and this is a newer phenomenon, like have people like typically before the current market, has that been, since it's a newer program, it hasn't been necessary before? Or?
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. This is a completely new phenomenon. We haven't seen anything like this. Typically, again, the norm is to just get a pre-approval. Pre-approvals usually are good for anywhere between 60 and 90 days. And you have that pre-approval. So you know, when as a realtor, the first thing I ask a potential new buyer is, have you been pre-approved? Because in order for me to set up a search criteria and start working with a client, I need to know what they're pre-approved for. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. Someone might want to buy a house, but maybe they can't get pre-approved, not ready financially. Or someone might want to be buying a home that's $700,000, but they can only be pre-approved for $300,000. So we need to have a general idea of what the client is going to qualify for before we start looking in earnest to buy a property and make offers. So that's always how it's been in the past. I mean, a lot of people are still doing it. It's just this other new feature, as we were just talking about, will sometimes get a leg up for a potential buyer.
Yeah, because it's really competitive right now. Yeah, as a lot of buyers are experiencing, you guys are experiencing, and no doubt, like, it's anything you can do to make your offer stronger is, it doesn't hurt. So.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Adam, for the info.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you're liking this content and are eager to hear more, I would encourage you to keep on watching. Click on the button to subscribe, and you will be the first to get new, fresh content as soon as I put it on the internet.